Hi, and a very warm welcome to this beautiful, fresh new week where the temperature has risen just above freezing. The snow's melting. It's much milder. All the local people are behaving as if summer's just arrived. And it's going to get colder later in the week, but I just wanted to share that little piece of information with you because one of the subjects that has been popping up in the inbox, an area that people seem to want to discuss, is the sensitive area of relationships. Because it seems that no matter how much we fall in love with people, how much we want to be with them, even that commitment to spend the rest of our lives with others can sometimes feel like a compromise. It's as if the dreams are not destined to be fulfilled. And I think it might be an important moment for us to just recognize that human beings, that's all of us, we're often impossible. We are unpredictable, we're difficult, we've got a lot of hidden and sometimes obvious internal conflicts that can make a relationship very, very difficult, very challenging. We have behaviors that are sometimes just not conducive to a successful partnership. And understanding these dynamics, well, I think that it requires more of our attention. Understanding how we really feel, how we really function, encourages us to do something which I think is often missing in a lot of relationships. And it's about better communication. Somebody once said that life is all about the conversations we have. I think there's a subtle wisdom in that assertion, because the more that we can learn not just to talk to the people we're closest to, but to listen to them. The more we can learn to listen, the more we can try to understand how the other person is thinking and feeling without judging, without commenting, without even trying to solve the problems or improve the situation. Just extending this healing balm of understanding. It can make a radical difference to the quality of our relationships. And in my experience, when working with people, when working with couples, this tends to be the area where we can make the greatest progress, because if you've been with somebody for a little while, there is a terrible tendency for us to assume that we know how they're thinking and feeling, and we jump into this shorthand, emotionally charged communication where we think we know, and that leads us to a rather unfortunate conclusion. What's that, Greg? Glad you asked. It's where we stop listening because we think we already know. And because we stop listening, we remove the possibility that we might just understand a little more of how this person is thinking and feeling, getting a deeper understanding of where the behavior is coming from. It really can make a huge difference. And when you take the time to listen and show the other person that you've listened, that you understood, even if you don't have the answers, even if you don't have a magical formula to make everything better, simply being available to hold someone and to listen to them and just understand them is an incredibly deeply healing act that requires several time and energy, yet it can exercise a profound impact on the quality of your relationships. I think this is a component that is missing in the world at large, but in our personal relationships, it is absolutely essential. It might not sound very complicated. It doesn't really require a great deal of energy. It doesn't require a lot of dedication. It's just that precious moment where you stop and you listen and start paying attention to what people are telling you, to understand how they're thinking and how they're feeling. We could take this further, because if you really want to have better relationships wherever you are in the world, with work, with family, with your nearest and dearest, whatever you want to call it, it is absolutely essential that you develop a much happier relationship with yourself. I know. It's a recurring theme, isn't it? But I would argue that the way that you feel about yourself is often extended into the relationships around you. It's often projected into the people who are closest to you. So learning how to be more accepting of yourself, even though we've all got our huge list, our encyclopedias of faults and, I don't know, errors and problems and weaknesses, yeah, we know. Learning to accept ourselves despite those frailties and weaknesses allows us perhaps to deal with some of those problems more effectively. We find spaces in which we can grow. We can learn to become something that is perhaps closer to that deeper sense of self that we're all looking for. I'd love to know what you think about this. I know it's a sensitive subject. I've had a few emails asking me to dredge this subject out of the dark pit of obscurity where it usually lingers, pull it into the light so we can have a discussion about how it's affecting us on a day-to-day basis. I'd love to know what you think and feel free to share your comments and observations and suggestions. And in the meantime, from a much milder part of the world where you might have noticed some of the snow has already begun to melt, allow me to wish you a most wonderful week, and I'll be back for you again soon.